Yeah.
You are all fine in this COVID scenario. Your family and your staff members, everybody. We wish a very safe and healthy time. This is a unprecedented crisis which everyone is facing. In view of this health crisis, there are many other challenges which have come up in the business. Everyone, be it the taxpayer or the entrepreneur or household person, everybody is facing the challenge. We wish solution for all these challenges as soon as possible. Today we are discussing one important aspect of classification related to hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer has become very handy during this present crisis. It is also coming out with so many challenges because recently the department has started certain inquiry based on the WCO recommendation. In view of that, we would like to express our views how this issue has to be dealt with. Before starting the actual issue, we would like to understand what is the meaning of hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer is normally alcohol-based liquid or gel to disinfect the hand or skin. It is also known as hand rubs, or sometimes it is known as even disinfectants. The purpose of using this hand sanitizer was mainly by the medical fraternity, hospitals, etc. at the time of entering into operation theater or before checking the patients, or in such other places where soap and water are not easily available. So ever since this COVID-19 crisis has started, WHO, World Health Organization, has recommended two formula of hand sanitizer which are to be used for the purpose of prevention of this viral infection where soap and water are normally not available. So this has become the very effective method to control the disease because the virus is getting infected or it is spread mainly due to contact, whether it is hand to hand or person to person or from things to human being. So to prevent the disease, the health fraternity or health experts are suggesting to keep the hands very clean and frequently wash the hands. If water and soap are not normally available, in that case this alcohol based hand sanitizer, especially a certain percentage like 70% or above, has been recommended by the World Health Organization, and those properly manufactured or with proper quality maintained hand sanitizer or well branded hand sanitizers are to be used for better use of the or better purpose for which it is being used. Recently, the Director General of GST Intelligence has issued one letter dated 10th June 2020 proposing to classify hand sanitizer under Chapter 38. And due to misclassification by many people, this particular letter has been issued in order to avail the lesser rate, because medicines are attracting 12% rate and other cosmetic products are attracting 18% GST rate. In order to get the tax benefit or to make it more competitive in the market, many manufacturers of hand sanitizers are trying to classify this particular product under Chapter 30 as medicines. Because of this, the DG GST Intelligence has issued the letter. The basis of this letter is the recommendation made by WCO, the World Customs Organization, which has given the list of COVID-19 items along with the classification code. So in that, hand sanitizer have been recommended under Chapter 3808. Generally, Chapter 3808 includes those products like insecticide, fungicides, and other disinfectants used on the goods other than the living thing, living animal or human being. So, but the recommendations, since it says 3808 is the appropriate classification with regard to hand sanitizer, department is taking the action. Many summons have already been issued and enquiry has also started. So what are the possible classifications? In our view, the hand sanitizer could be medicines if it is meeting with certain criteria, or it could be cosmetic product. But in our view, the product cannot be classified under Chapter 3808 under miscellaneous chemicals. Now, the question is whether the WCO recommendation is mandatory to follow in classification of the goods under GST law, because WCO is the authoritative body which controls the international trade, but with regard to classification under GST, the WCO has no legal status. The classification recommended by the WCO could be a guide to classify the goods, or it can have a persuasive value, but it cannot be legally binding upon the authorities or the trade and industry to classify based on the recommendation made by the WCO. And certainly the product cannot be classified under Chapter 38. It includes only miscellaneous chemicals. Earlier HSN, I think 5th edition in 2012, it used to give the detailed description of the product which are covered under Chapter 38. Recently in 2017 that has been revised. In the revised HSN, certain details given with regard to inclusion have not been retained, they have been deleted. Nevertheless, the Chapter 38, even in case of revised HSN, it categorically says the disinfectants or the hand rubs, such products which are covered as medicine or are covered under Chapter 30 cannot be included in Chapter 38. This clarification is there even under the revised HSN also. Earlier, the description given therein was little more, but the clarity what it was there earlier, same is continued even now also. So as per Chapter 38, these products which are used, or disinfectants which are used for cleaning the walls, floors, instruments, seats, etc., which are not used on the human being or which are not used on the skin, are only to be covered under Chapter 38. Next is whether hand sanitizer or hand rub or disinfectant can be medicine. See, in case of classification of medicine, there are certain factors which are very important. One is it should have a therapeutic or prophylactic values. That means it should be used in the prevention or spreading of the virus, bacteria, or any other disease. Or it should be used either in diagnosis of any disease, or it should be used in the treatment of any disease. So for the product to be classified, the foremost important thing to be classified as medicine is its therapeutic value or prophylactic value. Second one is there are certain provisions of Drugs and Cosmetics Act are to be, and the rules made thereunder are to be complied without any option. It is mandatory. As far as medicines are concerned, for manufacturing the medicine, there is a specified license which are to be obtained by the Food and Drug Administration. And even for storage and distribution of medicine, there is a selling license in a particular form. So whereas cosmetics products are concerned, for manufacturing, there will be a license to be obtained by the FDA under D&C Act and rules made thereunder. But for storage and distribution, there is no license required as it is in case of medicines. So this is one of the important differentiation between the medicines and the cosmetic products. Second thing is, another thing is the ingredients, that is the required raw material. In pharmaceutical language, it is called as active pharmaceutical ingredients. that should be of pharmacopoeial grade. That means some standard quality of raw material only should be used if it is to be manufactured as medicine. Whereas for cosmetic products, it may not be mandatory to use the pharmacopoeial grade. Then another important aspect is trade parlance in the last decade. How this particular product is known in the market, whether it is known as a simply hand wash or whether it is known as a preventive medicine or preventive application to stop any disease or to prevent any disease or any infection, how it is being used and who are the people using it, whether it is mainly used by the hospitals or medical fraternity or it is just for the sake of cleaning up the hands everyone is using. All these aspects are to be seen in detail. Then the another important aspect is the legal precedents, how courts have held uh, upheld the classification. So there are many decisions available with regard to classification of disinfectants. Most importantly, Supreme Court in case of ICPA health products in 1998, certain hand rubs which are used as disinfectants are to be classified as medicine under chapter 3004 only, and it cannot be classified under 3808. These are there are many other decisions available. So based on the legal precedents and the FDA rules and regulation which are followed, that is also very important, being technical in nature, and also the purpose for which it is being used. These are the very important aspects based on which classification has to be done. Your view, Madhukar sir?
Thanks, Vasant. I think you covered broadly. I will just add a few things. Number one will be for understanding the product, we can go to Wikipedia also. If we look in Wikipedia, sanitizer is understood to be a health product and it is said to be effective for reducing bacteria. This is very important. And the classification in GST, which is based on the Custom Tariff Act, and the Custom Tariff Act is based on the harmonized system of nomenclature which you referred to, is very clear that you should go to the entry. So if we go to the entry 3004, specifically talks about therapeutic and prophylactic. Now, this particular sanitizer, the one which we are discussing, could be in two different type of products. One could be the proper hand sanitizer, which is containing at least 70% alcohol and the active pharmaceutical ingredients, or another one which is maybe manufactured in garages or wherever it is manufactured with a little of alcohol and a little of soap. That is not really a sanitizer. That could be called a soap liquid. So there are two different products. Just because I call soap a sanitizer, it does not become a sanitizer, nor a sanitizer, hand sanitizer can become a soap just because I call it a soap. This is very important to understand. So as far as the classification is concerned, 3004 appears to be more, what I would say, in line with the alcohol-based sanitizers we see in the market. The next is that the trade parlance can be understood from the way the item is being described. Not only at this time of COVID, even before, if you had gone to the advertisement, they were very clear. It was on killing of germs, or it was specifically saying that more than 100 microbial and the microbial as well as antibacterial 100 such things can be taking can be treated with this. Remember, I'm talking before the COVID. So if you look at some of the famous brands like Dettol or Savlon, you will see this much before this period also. Now, what should the contents be? Very important, as expressed by Vasant. So alcohol could be in the form of ethanol, isopropylene, and the active ingredients could be chlorodexine, ethyl sulfate, ammonium based items, antimicrobial pharmaceutical ingredient, antibacterial, hydrogen peroxide, and many others, I'm sure. So when all this is there, then classifying it as a soap or a cosmetic product may not be the correct way to look at it. I'm also, looking at WHO, where they said that the safest and most effective medicine in health sector they have put as a classification, and in that, hand sanitizer is one of them. One aspect I thought is little surprising. The DGGI officers, are they not using sanitizers? Are they using it only for cosmetic purposes? Are they not using it today 10 times? Every time they touch anything, every time they go outside, every time they come inside, are they not using the sanitizers? Why are they using the sanitizers? To look good, is it? Or keep themselves clean? This is something which foxes me. How can somebody be so blind when they themselves use it for medicinal purposes, that is prevention of spread of COVID? How can they give such a clarification? Seems to be what I would say monkey business and creating litigation where there is none. So I think this is what I wanted to add to what Vasant said. And Vasant, you can take it forward.
Yeah, I would like to ask you how we can distinguish between the normal hand sanitizer, which are like cosmetic products, and the hand sanitizer rubs or disinfectants, which are acting like medicaments. How to distinguish between these two?
Yeah, I think the first and most important is the content. Obviously, it is not the name you put to it. And I've explained, you have to have alcohol. Alcohol, it should be alcohol based, which doesn't mean it is 5-10% alcohol. It should be substantially 60-70% alcohol. Remember, alcohol is an antiseptic. Even when you get wounds and all, sometimes if you do not have other medicines available to clean the place, clean the wound, you use alcohol. Along with the alcohol, that active ingredients of pharmacopoeia ingredients should be there. And they cannot be just a normal grade one, they should be of pharmacopoeial grade. I have also mentioned a few of them as an example when I was adding to your presentation. Other than that, I think also the differentiation would be in the way in which the product is described in its label on the website, etc. If you go through some of the common ones which we have been using for decades, then you may see that it is clearly put as a medicinal product, and as mentioned by Vasant, by you Vasant, that FDA permission is there, and it has expiry date, etc., etc., which are also very important to understand and differentiate between a soap with some alcohol and a hand sanitizer. Broadly, this is the way it would have to be differentiated as far as the product is concerned.
Okay. And another thing is any of the enquiries which have started on account of the letter issued by DGGI. Now, what are the options available? Whether writ remedies available to those manufacturers who have been manufacturing this product as medicaments, and now the action has been initiated against them?
The unfortunately, the courts may not actually admit this. Not that it cannot be tried. It can be tried because it's in public interest, maybe. But the courts could get into a point saying that this is their understanding, and they are giving they will give you a notice, and after they give the notice, you follow the due process of law. This is what the court may say. In case you go to the court at the stage of the letter. In case you go after you receive the show cause notice, they will say give a reply, because the department or the revenue will give reasons why it is not a hand sanitizer. And therefore, and also the point is that hand sanitizer, we should remember there are a lot of people who are putting hand sanitizer on the top of the bottle, which is just a soap liquid. It is not actually a hand sanitizer. People are using this for increasing their sales, but this is the way things work sometimes with errant entrepreneurs. And this is quite a lot, because there are uneducated people who will not see FDA, who will not look at a brand, who will not look whether FDA permission is there. Many people don't see all this. And those are the type of products which possibly could be classified into some other head, uh, and not into the medicinal product. So court also understanding this, that there is a confusion in this, may like to get the facts cleared. Remember, the court does not decide the facts. So to decide the facts, one would have to go to the reply to the show cause notice. Then they would have to appeal. And at the time of appeal, there is a draconian provision which has been borrowed from VAT in GST, where you might have to pay 30% of the demand as a pre-deposit. So the court may ask you to take that alternate remedy, and after you exhaust that remedy, then you can come to the court. But there is a very slim chance that the court may admit. In case the court admits, of course, then the matter could end there. But we know for sure that the department or revenue would go further, and they would appeal to the Supreme Court. So the matter will not be allowed to close by the revenue, as per what we have seen in the last 2 decades or 3 decades. The government is the biggest litigant in our country, and they have clogged up the courts like anything. In taxes also they have done that.
Okay.
Yeah.
If this writ remedy is not so advisable or not very pertinent at this moment of time, then what are the other options these manufacturers are having, considering the fact that amount involved, that differential tax if they are required to pay between 12% and 18%, it could be very substantial in many cases. So what precautions or what actions the manufacturers can take to avoid the further litigation or to stop this further inquiry or demands?
Quite limited actually. At the inquiry stage, it may be good first to differentiate between the other products, so-called sanitizers, and the real hand sanitizers. Take the definitions which we have talked about. You have also made presentation. So many points are there. Differentiate from soap first. Give the ingredients very clearly, and the fact that it is sold to hospitals directly and indirectly for the past few years could also be highlighted. Refer to the Supreme Court decision of ICPA. Ask the department for cogent reasons why the classification is being sought to be changed. It's important. Sought to be changed. The classification has always been 3004 based on the Supreme Court judgment in Central Excise. And we should remember the chapter description of the item is taken from the Custom Tariff Act, which has not changed. And it's the same as it was in 1998. And therefore, the reason for change in classification can be asked from the department. The other thing which can be done is affidavits from traders, people in the field can be taken saying that it is a medicine, hospitals, etc. Well-known hospitals like All India Institute of Medical Sciences, some hospitals like that. Since it's the truth, you may not have difficulty in getting a proper affidavit. Other than that, maybe you can also ask the Indian Medical Association for a certificate or clarification on this. All these are replies to the letter which you are going to give to see if you can avoid your product being demanded against. Of course, the people who are using soap as, selling soap as hand sanitizers, they will have to pay 18%. They may not have any defense. You could also write to the GST Council with all these aspects which you have got quickly through a group or association, if you have, of genuine alcohol-based sanitizer manufacturers, to ask them to prevail on this and push it for immediate or early resolution. Remember, part of the GST Council's work involves fitment of products properly. So under that, they may take it up. Write to the finance minister about the high-handedness of this type of, circulars being issued, which cause endless litigation, while highlighting that 95% of the litigation taken up by revenue in the central excise and service tax regime have failed. That means frivolous cases are taken just to harass and be also sometimes it's not only for harassing, it can be for being safe. What we call in corporate word, covering your ass. One important thing when you write to the finance minister should be that we should say that officers should be instructed in following judicial discipline. They should differentiate ICPA case if they have to make a case out of this particular thing. Second, the next stage. This is a stage where you try to avoid the show cause notice. In case the show cause notice comes, you will have to make a substantial reply. And when you make a reply, then there'll be an adjudication. And in case the order is against you, remember in this GST regime, the person who issues the notice to you, he himself decides at the first stage. And what is the chance of me issuing a notice and agreeing to you? The chance is very slim. It's a ridiculous method of going forward where there is clearly a conflict. For 60 years, it has been going on. We have also agitated that it cannot be the same person. It should be always a different person. Then it goes, in case the case is against you, you'll have to go to the commissioner, to the commissioner appeals, and after that further to the tribunal. Now commissioner is also from the department, but we have seen that many commissioners do take a independent view. Even if they take an independent view, the legal department of the revenue, 95% of the cases will again appeal to the tribunal. So they never allow anything to die, even if it is quite reasonable. We have heard so many officers, more than 1,000 cases we have heard officers saying, I agree with you, but I cannot take this action. Then why are they there? Why should they be paid salaries? To be sitting there and not taking a decision, wasting the taxpayers' money, time. The only persons who win in this is the professionals who are involved in litigation. After it goes to the appeal stage, there may be a requirement of pre-depositing at 2 stages. At that time, maybe one of the suggestions is at that time, if pre-deposit, ask for a waiver of pre-deposit, and if the commissioner appeals does not agree to the pre-deposit, go to the writ court and tell them that this is a fit case. This is actually a case which is already covered by a Supreme Court decision, and therefore asking us to pre-deposit will not be proper, and it will not be taking forward the way in India disputes should be resolved. Possibly you will get a stay at that time, and then you can of course fight the case going forward. These are the solutions which I think we can take, manufacturers can take, Remember, not only manufacturers, the importers and the traders also may get the same notice. So they also can follow the same route. This is what I think is the way to go forward as far as this hand sanitizers is concerned. As far as my wish and hope is that since this has caused so much of turmoil, the department should not issue the show cause notice, go back to the drawing board, examine what it is, and then give notices only to those non-alcohol based sanitizers or those that do not have the active pharmaceutical ingredients. This is what I hope the revenue will do. Thank you very much for listening to both of us.
Thank you, Mr. Madhukar, for your clarification, which is very clear and crisp. What we can conclude is all hand sanitizers cannot be said to be not a medicine. In the current scenario, all hand sanitizers are used as medicine only to prevent the spread of COVID-19. But all hand sanitizer manufacturer might not be manufacturing this product as medicaments. They may not be taking requisite permissions. Though permissions are not taken from Food and Drug Administration, considering the current scenario, FDA is not taking any action on such manufacturers. This has also led to the manufacturing and marketing of substandard product or certain product which are a bit harmful also. So government is taking necessary steps with regard to regulating the quality of the hand sanitizer manufactured, but at the same time treating all this hand sanitizer as disinfectant or miscellaneous chemicals which are to be classified under chapter 3808 is also unwarranted. As such, trade and industry and common man, everybody is facing a lot of problems, health issues, financial issues, and so many other issues in this current scenario. If this particular action by the manufacturer, by the department on the manufacturers of the hand sanitizer, not only it will hamper the business, and it could also hamper the availability of the hand sanitizers in the market. Again, it is not in the interest of the public. Therefore, in our humble request, the department has to act very carefully on this matter, because this is one of the essential commodities as it is notified under Disaster Management Act, and therefore there should not be any inconvenience to the genuine manufacturers of hand sanitizer. With this, we would like to thank all of you for your patient listening. Thank you very much.